Thanks, Zoya. Thanks, organizers, for calling me. So before I begin, just wanted to ask, has anybody heard of a rule called 2244? I'm sure most of you may not have heard it. It says that strategies are created in a boardroom at 22 degree AC temperature for the people who are working at 44 degree in the shop floor or the field. And then we contemplate why strategies didn't work. But isn't it obvious? So with this, I just want to welcome all of you. And like I said, it's my pleasure being here, sharing my thoughts on organizational change and the role of cultural transformation and strategies in it. I'll be sharing some of my examples, what I saw during my journey of digital transformation projects, and some of the examples from the industry. So on the left, you see some of the organizations which had strategies working, and they were resilient to the changes in the environment they were into. Like Microsoft, they offered something called the disk-based or file-based licenses to the cloud-based things. Now they have moved to Gen AI, Azure. So they have been changing a lot. And same is the stories for Amazon, Apple, Netflix. And on the right, you see some of the organizations which may have strategies but may not have worked for them. The classical example we keep on taking, and at the cost of repetition, again I'll take Nokia, because at one time around 2005-08 they were the best, their quality was the best, everything was going well with them, but the world was changing towards Android, and they had the reservations of moving towards Android. And though there were bottom-up, now we see case studies where there were bottom-up cases where people were saying to move toward Android, but the resistance and the bureaucracy in the organization didn't allow them. And Kodak, some of you may not even know this name. I could see some of the millennials sort of people. So these were, they showed something which is called slash in management terminologies. They were waiting and waiting and waiting until they became extinct, to get into more digital kind of things. Same for BlackBerry. So while both of the organizations showed strategic intent, but culture was the deterrent why one could succeed and the other couldn't. In some of the other examples from the industry, some of the other examples from the industry, you see Toyota, it shows a lot of culture of resilience and adaptability. And in 2011, if we go back to that time, we'll remember tsunami came, and after that, immediately they created a distributed supply chain. Everywhere they scattered through instead of a central place in Japan. And hence, they were able to sustain. Again, Amazon has a culture of agility, responsiveness. So what they say is a two-pizza team, and I'm sure most of you have heard of it. They say that the working team of a project should be such that they can be fed by 2 pizzas. So that is the total number of people they have. And all of them are given delegation, authority, and they take ownership to do such things. And hence they show responsiveness, and then we see innovations like Amazon Eco and many other things. Google also has something similar. They call it 20% time, which means every employee is given 20% of the time for innovation, agility, and showcase some of the things which they want to prove to the management. And that's how Google Maps and other things came into existence. And again, Hilton Hotel works with the empathy and hospitality ingredient in their DNA. When they were not going through good times, then this culture created a resilience for them, and then they again bounced back. Similar things for Southwest Airlines. They are known for the empathy, and I'm sure if someone has traveled in it, they may correlate the empathy, fun, and the culture they create for the travelers. So that creates a bond, and they are known for this, and similar things for Apple. So what I'm trying to say here is the culture, if it is good in an organization, then all your strategies will work, and it will create a futuristic thing for the organization, and absence of it could be deterrent. Now, while this is good to know, but what creates a change in an organization? So there was a psychologist with the name Kurt Lewins, and he shared that If you want to change anything, then it's a 3-step process. Imagine you have a big, like in this image also, a big solid cube of ice, and you want to convert it into 3 cubes. What you will do? The obvious thing is first to melt it, unfreeze it. Then in the transit state, when it is liquid, it has changed the state, you will put it in a mold and convert it into 3 different cubes. Now, this is same which works for an organization in change management also. Imagine like we are moving from one CRM, which is obsolete, getting obsolete, into the other one. So first thing is you will call your employees, you will unfreeze it, you will call a meeting, you will ask what are the risks, what are the mitigations on those risks that we can do. Moving ahead, training need or any job security that employees would need, you will give it to them, and then move to a stage where you will start a training or a change management process. There will be few executions on the application side, on the CRM, then you will be onboarding a few subject matter experts, and in that transitory or hybrid state, you will be working on both the application, the erstwhile and the new one, both. You will not sunset it. Slowly and gradually, when the employees start accepting it, it may take time, it will not happen overnight. So slowly and gradually, when they start accepting it, then you will be kind of sunsetting the previous one and making it rigid, that the new KPIs and everything is based on the new application of CRM. So this is how a change management works. Now again, when it's easy to understand from these 3 words, but hard to feel the emotions when you go through such things. And then again, there is again a psychologist, John Fisher, who shared that whenever we go through a transformation, and I'm sure all of you can correlate to something or the other from here, that whenever we go through any transformation, we go through a series of emotions. And these series of emotions at times are determinantal that we exit from the entire thing. And this is what all our employees go through when we go for any transformation thing. I'll share my own anecdote here, and in best interest of time, I'll be as short as possible. When we started our digital transformation in one of my previous organization, I was the first member to be onboarded for this. The first thing, our technology head CIO called me and said that you will have to lead the digital transformation. The first thing that came to my mind was anxiety, that can I really do it? I come from a little different background, not core digital, so will it be possible for me? The anxiety came into my mind. Then once it got finalized, then I was very happy that there are so many legacy things which can be overhauled. There is connected vehicle, IoT, Internet of Things, industrial Internet of Things, logistics, supply chain, everything will be overhauled. So this was my happiness feeling. Very slowly, when rubber started meeting road, I went to the departments and I said कि सर अब शुरू करना ही है. तो the first thing was, अरे बहुत सारे डिपार्टमेंट चालू होके बंद हो गए, ये भी बंद करके नया कुछ चालू कर लेंगे, तुम घबराओ मत, बहुत काम है हमारे पास, इसको बंद कर देंगे. So that was the fear, and this was self-denial and anger feeling also for me, that now what? Like it's recently started and the people here are talking of closure of the department itself. So it was a fear feeling, and when I started discussing more with the people, the applications were not so simple that it looked like just a connected vehicle, putting a telematics and IoT and it will be plug and play. It had many more challenges. I think some of them we discussed in the previous discussion also. So it was a threat that this is much bigger than what I thought. It's not possible for me to do. And that was a time, more or less where I thought, change, there is no change as such. I better go to my previous tasks and do what I am good at and leave it here as is. But with the mentor's support and everything, then I moved ahead, and then the first project, it was platform as a service for a document management system. When I was about to give a business case for that and get an approval, I got a setback saying this works on a server or a database which is not supported by our organization. So, the managed services we cannot give. this stands cancelled as of now, you have to bring a different solution. Again, it was a guilt feeling that these basics architecture also I'm not able to understand and comprehend. So again, it was a state where I thought of disillusionment and thought that it's better I give up and get again back to something. These transformational things are just good in the books or management discussions or big four discussions, may not be practically possible. At least in our organization, I was convinced that day. And then I had a discussion with our technology head, and the gentleman was very kind. I told him that very soon I'll be getting into a multiple personality disorder. When I discuss with the business users, they always tell me something good is happening, the change is coming. But when I come here and discuss with you, I see a different feeling from your face, and I'm confused. And like I told you, it will be soon converted to a personality disorder. So help me out from this. And again, that day could have been again a case where I could have exited from this digital transformation. But then with the mentorship support, it moved on, and some of the projects started seeing the daylight. It became an organization-wide effort, and those efforts were seen in the limelight also, and they started giving the business benefit and realization to the top line and the bottom line, plus the experience part, the things like we were discussing, ROI and other things. And then, finally it came to a nirvana stage where I felt now, yes, it works. And probably it has worked, that's why Empiric Media has called me here. So yeah, so this is what I wanted to say is, whenever we do any transformational project, then all these emotions people go through, and we have to live as a leaders in our departments, in our organization. We have to ensure that people pass through these stages and they don't get into a denial mode or self denial or anger mode, or leave or quit. So this is something which is a very integral part of transformation project. I'll just take one example from what we did in my present organization. We have a legacy of 6+ decades. So, and we recently started our digital transformation foray. Before that, we were primarily on the IT side into some enterprise application, and business was not also demanding much from us. Neither the industry was, and then came COVID, which became catalyst, and everybody wanted digital first. It reached to the attention of boardroom, and then the first thing that we realized was that to stay competitive, to achieve our targets of aggressive business growth, digital is already considered as one of the lever. And then we acknowledged that the problem is the cultural acceptance may not happen easy because of 6+ decades of legacy, and because of if we run a program also, the participations in that full-fledged or wholeheartedly may become an issue for us. So first thing to get cure is to know that I am not feeling well and go to a doctor and say कि मेरे को बीमारी है, तभी वो doctor आपको करेगा. So here also we acknowledged that these things would be there, and there are risks which would come down the line. I wish the pointer worked. But then what we thought that this cultural change can be done by onboarding everyone, not sitting in just 22 degree, but those who are at 44 degree, they also should be onboarded. And we started doing webinars just to sensitize that digital transformation, what benefits it creates. Then we started sharing some of the newsletters to the people. Some small projects which were done, we started celebrating it. People who were involved were given rewards and recognitions. Then we had road shows wherein we could involve more people for horizontal deployment, just telling them these are the projects which are done in your organization only. And then people gained confidence, gave them right kind of support that this is not going to change anything in your job, because tools like RPA, robotic process automation, people do get apprehension of their job security. So all these road shows, newsletter, quizzes, at times we did crowdsourcing of ideas also, so people get involved. And these quizzes were created intentionally on digital subjects. We knew people may answer it from Google, but then still our purpose was solved. That if we say what is RPA, they'll Google it, but still they'll learn what it is, robotic process automation. And there were a lot of impetus from all across the organization. We created champions, and once we could see that change is happening. Parallelly, we were doing the digital projects also. When we could see that change is happening, then we got into specialized training. When in the last stage we reached the refreeze model, we created specialized training contents on our own use cases. So our own PLCs, we asked manufacturing folks to come and do IoT use case, or salespeople could do something on forecasting using our own representative data with the subject matter expert creating the custom course content for us. And then the traction started increasing. People started accepting such things. Finally, when we saw that digital is becoming the new DNA of the organization, it just hinted of it, not that I would say we are 10 on 10, but then at that time, we created more collaboration, communication, and also the applications which were onboarded had a definitive KPIs which were then discussed with the senior management for the adoption and benefit realization. So that became the onus on top management also to ensure that downstream it is continuously being used and we don't roll back to what we were 6 decades back. So this is how what we did. Close to 240 odd projects we did in big and small, all sorts, in 2 years. 130 odd would have seen daylight. These newsletter which we weekly used to share, around I think 55 odd we have shared so far, and 30 odd quizzes winners. Then 300 plus crowdsourced ideas we got. 4 of them have seen the daylight of implementation also. And the rewards and recognition are given on a weekly basis. So this has been a short journey on this digital capability building. Some of the things, like you can see, short groups, big groups, subject matter experts, webinars, trainings, and then our MD himself getting into reward and recognition. All this has created a cultural transformation for us. And now happily we could say that we are on a journey, on a right track for the transformation. Yeah. So in best interest of time, I'll just conclude that if you have to also build such transformational thing in the organization, then first and foremost is to acknowledge that you have to do this. Because most of the organization, you will see the first step itself is not taken. And I used an example of Nokia, where they didn't even acknowledge that there is a problem. Then second is that you have to empower and educate stakeholder. More you communicate with them, more you discuss with them and understand their, or rather empathize with their feelings, better it is for entire group, for you to deliver, for them to accept, and then for an organization to gain benefits from it. Embrace agility. All those emotions and everything is going to come. One has to just move on and face this until you win the race. So you lose a lot of battles to win the war. It's same like that. Align stakeholders and communicate, like I just mentioned. As many stakeholders as you can communicate on a daily basis, hurdles of the working team, or a weekly basis thing of N-1, or a fortnightly thing with CXOs. The more you communicate, better alignment it would be, and early success and instant gratification you'll see. That's it from my side. Thanks for being a patient audience.